Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Sauce. Got Florida at Utah here. Same game we saw to open up last season. Florida edged that game out at the end. I had Utah minus 2.5. Hopefully have some better luck this year. Line opened up Utah laying 9.5 points at home here. Total opens up at 51.5. Let's go.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
So this line did open at 9.5, but when news of Cam Rising's injury dropped and everyone found out that he's probably not going to play, so did the line. I got it at 8. So if you're in the Sauce group chat, you should be holding a Florida plus 8 ticket. It's down to 4.5 on most books now. Tough to get a read on the action in this one because when the news dropped, everyone went and bet Florida. But now that it's down to 4.5, it looks like the action's starting to come in on Utah. I'll have a better idea of where the action is on the live show Thursday at 4 p.m. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and we're looking at Utah 33, Florida 20 final score. But this is using numbers from last year. Obviously, Cam Rising was under center last year. Anthony Richardson was playing quarterback for Florida. Week 1 college football, the model. Take it with a grain of salt. So we'll start with the returning production here, and there's just no discussion. It's Utah by a mile in this department. Utah bringing back an estimated 76% of their production from last season, 16th in the country, 83% of their offensive production, which is 5th in the country. Florida, on the other hand, got completely gutted. 107th in the FBS in estimated return in production. But when it comes to Utah's offense specifically, sure, they may still have the pieces on the roster, but the question is, are they healthy? I'm not sure what to expect at quarterback. Looks like Cam Rising will not be ready to play at the start of the season. Their second string quarterback, who's a freshman, Brandon Rose, apparently he suffered an injury during an offseason scrimmage. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to play either. That means the starting quarterback for Utah is most likely going to be Bryson Barnes, who's a junior. He's only made one career start, but that start was last season, and he went on the road into Pullman, a tough place to play, and they beat Washington State 21-17 with Barnes at quarterback. Washington State, especially defensively, that's not an easy football field to go in and score points on. Another piece of Utah's offense that might be missing in this game is Brant Kuithe. It's spelled weird, but it's pronounced Brant Kuithe, I believe. He's supposed to be a big part of that offense this year. He's supposed to fill the shoes of Dalton Kincaid, who now plays for the Buffalo Bills, so he might not be playing in this game either. Now let's get to some good news for the Utes. The Florida defense, that defense looks like a mess. I mean, not only are they bringing in a brand new DC, Austin Armstrong, Nick Saban hired Armstrong to be the inside linebackers coach in January, from what I read, and then a month later, Florida offered him the DC job, and he left Alabama after just a month to take that job. He was the defensive coordinator at SMU in 21 and 22. Last year, in the second year of his tenure at SMU's defensive coordinator, they were 109th in Beta Rank's overall defense. So I don't have a ton of faith in him taking over a defense that wasn't good last year and in his first year suddenly turning it into a good defense. And not only are they bringing in a brand new unproven defensive coordinator, but Florida's defense is also only bringing back 3 starters from last year's defense, and those guys ranked 6th, 7th, and 11th on the team in total tackles. Everyone else is gone. Now, to be fair to Florida, 2 of the new guys are transfers. They brought in Cam Jackson, who's a nose tackle from Memphis. They also brought in a safety from Michigan. So those 2 theoretically should be upgrades, but as a whole, for me personally, this Florida defense has a huge question mark next to it. So are the injuries on Utah's offense a concern for me? Yes, of course they are. I could see Utah offensively getting off to a slow start this season, but Phil Steele has Utah as the number 5 ranked offensive line in the country, and they may have lucked out here because I don't think it's crazy to say that the Utah offense, even with Bryson Barnes at quarterback, even if they're missing their tight end 1, which isn't confirmed yet, but even if that's the situation, I don't think it's crazy to say that at home they can still move the ball and score points on this Florida defense. On the other side, we're going to get our first look at Graham Mertz on his new team. Prop Beaver hates Graham Mertz, by the way. If you don't know who Graham Mertz is, he was a very highly touted recruit at Wisconsin. He was supposed to be the guy. The way they were marketing it when they brought him in, he was supposed to be the guy that changed Wisconsin from a run-first program into like a complete offense, turned it into a program that could develop quarterback talent. It didn't work out at all. His sophomore year at Wisconsin was truly terrible. Like, it was awful. Now, last year as a junior, he did take a small step forward. I mean, it wasn't an amazing season, but we saw him throwing the ball downfield a bit more. We know that the arm talent's there with him. That's not a question. It's whether or not Billy Napier can turn him into a top SEC quarterback this year or not. We'll have to wait and see. Now, let's talk about the Florida offense for a second. Obviously, they bring back Billy Napier at head coach. Rob Sale's still the OC. But it's kind of a similar situation as the defense. Just a ton of new faces, just 3 returning starters from last year as well. Obviously, the 2 big losses, Osiris Torrance, 350-pound guard. He's a Buffalo Bill now. He was probably the best player on the Florida offense. Yes, including Anthony Richardson, who's their other big loss. So they lost their quarterback and Osiris Torrance, who was an all-American guard. Now, there are a couple positive points for Florida's offense. First of all, they bring back Montrell Johnson and Ricky Pearsall. That's their leading rusher and their leading receiver from last season. And don't forget, they have the younger Etienne brother there. Trevor Etienne, he's there as well. He's not listed on the starting depth chart because technically he's the backup running back, but he gets a ton of touches. He rushed for over 700 yards last season. So yeah, their all-American guard is gone. And yeah, Anthony Richards gone. They got Graham Mertz at quarterback now, but their 3 main offensive weapons are still there. But the truth is that offense should really have their hands full in this one, because if there's one thing Utah defense can do, it's shut the run down. Utah was 3rd in effective run last year, 3rd in the FBS, and they bring back 7 of their 9 leading tacklers from last season. And Florida was a run-first offense, passing on just 45.02% of their offensive snaps. That's 90th in the FBS. This was a run-first team, even with Anthony Richardson. So it's not like they didn't have a quarterback. They had a quarterback. They were still a run-first team under Billy Napier. Going into Utah with a run-first offense and a new quarterback and trying to run on that defense, that's a tough task. It's not going to be easy. Now, I will say Utah defensively was definitely underwhelming against the pass last year. They expected to be a top 10 defense, and they were against the run, not against the pass. They were back at, I didn't write it down, I think it was like 46th or 48th on effective pass. So if Billy Napier wants to go into this game and drop Graham Mertz back to pass 30-35 times, I think they can move the ball a bit. It's just, that's a big if. A brand new quarterback on the road, across the country. It's a lot easier said than done. I know betting wise, everyone's talking about the injury, right? Everyone's talking about Cam Rising. I get it. But the truth is, if you take that angle away and really look at this game, I think every single other angle points to Utah. They got the better offensive line. They got the better defense. Maybe Florida's offensive weapons are a bit better, but I think the arrows point to Utah all over the board here. If I can get this at an even 4, I have to play Utah. Obviously, I have a Florida +8 ticket. So if I can get Utah -4 and play the middle, I'm going to do it. So I'll let you know what the final decision is on the live show. Like I said, Thursday at 4 p.m. right here on YouTube. We got a 3-pick underdog cooked up for you coming from Prop Beaver himself. He almost hit his week 0 one. Marcus Freeman, for some reason, decided to keep Estime in the game, give him a carry to go over the total at the very end of a blowout. Made no sense at all. He did just hit his last MLB pick him, and that was a 4-pick. That was a 10 times payout. We're hot with these right now. Let's keep it going. This one's for the college football Thursday night slate. Jeff Sims lower than 186.5 yards passing, Sean Tyler higher than 78 yards rushing, and Brennan Armstrong over or higher than 1/2 interception. That's a 3-pick, so it pays out 6 times. If you don't have Underdog Fantasy, it's available to all the states highlighted in orange here. So if you're in one of these states, head over to Underdog's website or download the app. When you make an account, make sure you use the promo code BET. BET. That'll give you a $100 deposit bonus. So if you deposit $100, they will match it and give you a free $100 to play with. That's promo code BET, BET. If you want my top bets sent directly to your phone, as well as parlay of the day, Discord, the money tracking, all that, if you're interested in that stuff, just head over to KyleKirms.com or download the Sauce Network app. College football week 1, we got games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's a loaded weekend. Remember to bet responsibly, and hit me up on Twitter if you need me.